So we have installed Arduino. Now we're going to open it. And then we have this empty sketch. First thing to do is install the ESP32 library. So you click on the tab for the boards manager, and then we're going to search for ESP32. All right, here we have it. ESP32 by Espressif. Now it's important that we choose an older version. We need this one. Okay, click install. Okay. Next to do is select another board. Now we're going to search again for ESP32. Here it is. ESP32 dev module. This one we need. Okay. Now it's time to connect the T5 board over USB. And now we again is going to check for the ports. Now we only have serial ports 4 and 5, but that's standard on this laptop. That is not the T5 board. Now I'm going to connect the T5 board. And let's see what's happened now. Again, going to check for the port. Okay, and there it is. And we choose then this one. It's on serial port number 7. When it has a connection to a serial port, you see directly that this comes in bold. Now another interesting thing to do is let's check for the serial monitor. Okay, this is a serial monitor, and it will display everything what the board sends over the serial. Important, the baud rate has to be set on this one. Okay, and let's see if we get some messages. So we reset the board, and there it is. So what happens is after a boot, the board starts up, and it will scan all the Wi-Fi networks on 2.4 gigahertz. So these are the Wi-Fi networks that were found here. There is no SD card in the T5 board, so it says SD card mount failed. But so far so good, everything works completely normal. We have a serial connection, and we can go on with the next step. All right, now we're gonna load an example sketch. And it's the OTAWebUpdater for the ESP32 module. There it is. So what we do now is here, we set our own Wi-Fi network and the password from this network. So I'm on this network. And my password. So my password is in the sketch now. And only thing what we have to do next is upload. Then it first will be compiled. And after compiling, it will be uploaded to the board. This takes normally half a minute or so. Okay, there it is. That's okay. Done uploading. Now we need again our serial monitor. I made a mistake here. As you see, my Wi-Fi is TP-Link with capitals. So, again, upload. There's again my serial monitor. Now it's connected. You see it here, connected. Important now is here this IP address. So we take a browser. I prefer Chrome. And we gonna go to this IP address. And there we are. With admin and admin, we can log in. Okay, and now we need a bin file, and we can upload that bin file to the board. So let's go to GitHub. And here I have a B74 type of screen. I just take the latest software. So it's now downloaded. Then I'm going to choose in downloads where it is. Now I have to download it. So yes, again. I go to my download and here it is. The latest software. And update. Okay, it seems to work. So the normal boot, we see here there's no SD card because it says local memory 1464 kilobyte. It says SSID not set, so this is the default name from the Wi-Fi network. After 10 seconds, it will try to search for another Wi-Fi network. This is also not active. So, and then when this is finished, it will try to start the GPS. Of course, in this case, we don't have connected the GPS, because after some time, it will says waiting for start, and it will says no GPS frames. So this is completely normal because we don't have GPS. How can we now connect the board to our own Wi-Fi network? Well, for the first time, we have different options. One of the simplest options I prefer is with a mobile hotspot. So this can be done on a Windows 10 or Windows 11 machine. You go to here, network, and then mobile hotspot. First, of course, we have to set the name of the mobile hotspot. In this case, it is ESP_GPS, and the password is password2. And then, of course, important, you have to choose the 2.4 gigahertz. Okay. Now I'm going to set it on. And now we're going to do a reset on the board. I reset the board. Okay. First, it will try to go to the first Wi-Fi network, which is not set. And then, after 10 seconds, it will try to connect to the ESP-GPS network. Okay, that is a success. And now important, you have an IP address. We go to this IP address with our browser. Okay, and here we are on the server on the T5 board. And now we can do everything that we want. So important here, you go to the configuration. In the first line of the configuration, you can set your own Wi-Fi network. And you fill in the password. That's the most important setting actually. Other settings are here calibration of the battery. Mostly this is something around 1.7. Shutdown is okay. That has to be auto detect. Sample rate okay. So the default settings are normally perfect. When I do now a submit, all these settings are going to be saved in a configuration text file on the SD card. And it will boot again. Unless you set this to no, then it won't boot. But to use the settings that you just changed, you have to do a reboot. So I have set my Wi-Fi network and my password. I'm going to do submit. Upload was a success. And now we have a reboot and it will try to connect to the Wi-Fi network that we just put in there. That seems to work. Okay, and there we have a new IP address. And here again, just the same. We go to connect to this IP address. We're gonna push the right button for 2 seconds. So I push now the right button. And then the T5 board makes its own Wi-Fi network with the name ESP-32AP. So we go here in our Wi-Fi settings. And here it is. Password is just simple password here. Is just simple password here. Now we go to the IP address that's on the T5 board. And there it is. And again, we can go to the configuration and put everything in what we want. Just the same method. And with upload, with submit, the new configuration is saved to the SD card.